Welcome to 120 Months. My name is David Parsons. This is the show where we're talking about all the music from the 1990s, or at least the music we care about.
Month by month, year by year.
That's right, month by month. That's why it's called 120 Months. We are on. We have made it through 1990.
Yeah, year one in the books.
And this is. I thought we would do a retrospective, a look back. I always enjoyed like my favorite Siskel and Ebert episodes. Did you ever watch Siskel and Ebert back then?
I did. Yeah.
Where they did like the end of the year wrap up and they talked about their favorite movies of the year. And
I don't remember that, but I would have enjoyed that.
I love that stuff.
But I know you're not fucking around.
Yeah.
Because you have a leather bound journal, and I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, you know what? I got it at Target.
Ah.
So don't be too impressed.
Well, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. I am thoroughly impressed. I don't want you to see this because so what John and I have done. I'm talking about you as if you're not in front of me right now. But we have created a list of our 10 favorite albums of 1990. I realized that over the course of these 12 episodes, actually we did more than 12 episodes because some of the months we split up.
We did 2 of them in 2 months.
Right.
So we did 14 episodes.
So about close to 75 albums we've listened to over the course of the last few months recording these episodes, which is pretty crazy. And there are ones that stuck out and ones that I forgot and ones that I think are new favorites for me. In some ways, I don't know if you discovered any albums that you'd never heard before. We'll find out. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Did you, going back to pick our top 5? I don't know, top 10. I'm sorry. I don't know what your method was, but I just went back and looked through the lists on the playlists.
Yes.
And there were a few times I was like, oh, I remember that. Right. Oh yeah, that one. But the ones, it was not difficult for me to pick a top 10. You know what was difficult for me? To put them in order.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I might cheat a little bit because I have a few honorable mentions.
I have 3 honorable mentions
that I'm
too.
like, I couldn't fit them into the top 10.
Me too.
But I'll tell you this, in terms of strategy, I also sort of figured out, I think, I could be wrong, but some of the albums that'll be on your list. And I sort of strategized around that so that we would include a well-rounded thing. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thing. Yeah. Oh, I see. So you
so
may have...
I knew certain albums. I'm like, that's definitely going to be on John's list.
So you may have left one off that you would have been included, but you're like...
Or arranged them a certain way.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But
that's
I'm really...
interesting.
Yeah, so
I didn't think of you at all.
Okay, that's good. We're going to do our top 10 albums. And then I think you've chosen a song of the year. I chose a song of the year.
I have a top 10 record.
Yep.
I have the song of the year. And then for both of those categories, I have some honorable mentions.
Okay.
That almost made it. Like things that deserved to be mentioned that they almost made my,
I want to say before we even get started, this was super fun.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're doing this. The year 1990 was a weird year. It was a lot of diverse entries. And you can go back and listen to all our episodes and check out the Spotify playlist because we made playlists for each one of these episodes. And there were a lot of surprises. I think that's part of what was fun about it. As we've talked about in our previous episodes,
it was a year where the music scene was figuring out what it was going to be. And it's very, there's not a lot of congruity. It's all over the place.
I don't know what that word means, but I'll take your word for it.
The music is all over the place.
Yeah.
And even artists, there's a lot of artists. I talked about this a couple of times. There's a lot of great artists making bad records this year.
Yes.
Ending their careers, the replacements come to mind. Making great artists making their worst records, things like that.
Yep.
Echo and the Bunnymen replacements come to mind. And then it's also a year when a lot of artists have been making records throughout the 80s and don't see what's on the horizon and have not positioned themselves to be part of the new popular movement of music.
Yeah.
And then there are bands that happen to be right place, right time. And you can see, oh, you know what? Hang in there, Mark Lanigan, because in the 90s, you're going to be huge.
Yeah,
like that kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think the first month of 1991 preview. We're going to continue doing this, and we'll have 91. I think is a wicked year for music. Like lots of crazy shit. But just in January, in our first episode, we'll be talking about Mark Lanigan again because there's a Screaming Trees album that comes out. Yeah. Okay, so again, I'm not going to show you this. How do you want to do this? You want to basically like I'll do my number 10, you do your number 10. We'll just go that way and exchange.
Let's go like this. So you do your number 10.
Yeah.
And then I'll do my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give my song of the year, and you give the final song of the year.
Okay.
Want to do that, or you want to just do it all?
Well, no. Let's do it back and forth though. Like I'll say what number 10 is, and then you say what number 10
That's
is.
good.
Okay.
Then let's do our honorable mentions first.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Let's count it down.
Okay. So the honorable mentions that are not included in the top 10. Yeah. You're gonna be surprised maybe by some. How many honorable mentions do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. So my first honorable mention that I couldn't squeeze in the top 10, but I think I had to mention is the Breeders album, Pod.
Okay.
I couldn't find a place for it. I agonized over this because, as you remember, I really like this album.
Yeah.
But I know the Breeders will be back.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. They will be back. That's a good point.
Yeah.
There's a couple of... I'm going to talk about the same thing a couple of times.
Yeah. So should I keep going with my other... Okay, my other honorable mention, I couldn't find a place for, but I thought needed to be said, is in 1990, the Twin Peaks soundtrack came out. I know we had different reactions to it. But the Twin Peaks soundtrack, to me, is so unique
in
it as an entry in American pop culture, just like all of Lynch's stuff, that I'm not sure about this, but it might be one of the only Twin Peaks associated albums to come out. I know David Lynch made other music. He made weird music. But it's it's so connected to the show. It's such a unique piece that I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I never got over the awfulness of it. But as we discussed at length, the awfulness was intentional. Mm-hmm. It was part of the veneer of
It reminds me of I saw a comedian once saying that Kanye West's video looks like shit on purpose because he's a genius. And that's what I think this album is like. Okay, 2 more that I think are worth mentioning that aren't on my top 10 list. But you should listen to. One is Traveling Wilburys Volume 3, which is confusing because there's no Volume 2, and it's the only other album besides Volume 1. But either way, Traveling Wilburys album I thought was really funny and weird, and it's just great hearing those guys jam together, even though the absence of Roy Orbison is really felt because he's gone. But just hearing Tom Petty and Bob Dylan and these guys is like...
having a good time.
Super fun.
And I heard a story that made me think of that. So I just watched a clip of Martin Short being interviewed by Howard Stern talking about smoking a joint with George Harrison.
Right.
And he was talking about how he and his wife were going to see the screening of a movie at some director's house or something. And Harrison was going to be there. And so he said that the story was about how he smoked a joint with Georre Harrison, because that's a pretty epic thing to do.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
I got stoned with a Beatle. So they smoked weed with him, and he said this record, Volume 3, had just come out, and George Harrison was super excited for you to hear it. Like, he was singing the words and putting his arm around you and singing to you.
Right.
Because Howard was like, was it weird to listen to his record with him there? And Martin Short said, no, he was very excited and like trying to get like singing along. And
yeah. Well, I mean, that's partly why I enjoyed the album. It sounded like these guys were having fun.
Having a great time.
Yeah. And the final honorable mention, I think, will be shocking to you, but I in part chose it because I know it's going to be on your top 10. I could be wrong. But Uncle Tupelo's No Depression is an honorable mention for me. And we'll get to why when we get to my top 10.
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm super excited to hear your top 10, because there's a couple on there that I was sure would be in your top 10.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear what your top 10 is. So do you want me to go into my honorable mentions
Yeah,
now?
please.
Okay.
What are the ones you couldn't squeeze into the main list?
I have 3 honorable mentions. The first is Rhythm of the Saints by Paul Simon.
Yes.
Love what that record is, and like I talked about it, when I listened to this record at this time, what became apparent to me was what a great artist Paul Simon is, and how he puts on different clothes, but he's
Yeah.
always the same character underneath it.
Yeah.
You know, he puts on these. So in this one, it's Brazilian rhythms, and it was a beautiful album. So it didn't make my top 10, but a great record. Soul Asylum and the Horse They Rode In On made my. I just rediscovered this album.
Yeah.
Through this process. We listened to the record obviously this year. I haven't listened to that record in 30 years.
Wow.
But I remember it when it came out. I was a Soul Asylum fan. I had seen them on the tour before that record. I remember this time in their history. And going back and listening to it now, I really think it's a super cool record. I love the way it's recorded. I love what they're doing as songwriters. It's very experimental. There's a lot of influences, and I felt like they were really free as artists, even though the record was not successful.
I agree. That was a discovery for me, that album. I had no idea. I mean, I had some idea that they had other albums besides, the big hit, Grave Diggers Union?
Yeah,
Grave Dancers Union.
I think it's Grave Dancers Union. It's the one that has Runaway Train on it.
Right. So, yeah, I enjoyed that album.
Yeah.
Too.
And then the Sundays.
Yes.
Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic.
Oh, not on the top 10.
No.
Shocking.
Almost.
Offensive, even. Yeah.
I knew that we would disagree on that.
Right.
But once again, I will tell you, my reasons are that, once again, I was listening to this music when that record came out. Mm-hmm. And it was not, listening to it now, I love it. I really enjoy it. I listen to it a lot. It's great. Della loves it.
Mm-hmm.
My wife loves it.
Yeah.
But it was not something that moved the needle in that
it didn't blow your mind.
It was not. It was pretty straightforward college pop, Brit pop that was all over the place at that time. It was a good version of it.
Yeah.
But it was not something where it went like so, and that it was not something that qualified that checked the boxes of what I categorize for my top 10 list. And I think that's an interesting thing. I think we should both share. What were your criteria for the top 10?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that'll come out in when we get to our lists. And, I discovered, about that album, The Sundays, Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic, that, we both were like sort of loving the kind of acoustic, folky vibe that's going on there. But it's drum machines. It's programmed drums on that album. If you listen to it again.
Is it?
Yeah, it's programmed drums. It's just done in a way that you wouldn't notice necessarily. It doesn't have that overbearing electronic feel to it. They sort of programmed acoustic sounding drums. But yeah, it's a
that's
fucking
so
drum
interesting.
machine.
That was a thing back then. That's how the Smashing Pumpkins started out, right?
Right, but a lot of times that is kind of called attention to and sort of part of the aesthetic.
Part of
it's
the
like,
thing,
oh yeah, it's got this like electronic vibey drums, but this was like, no, they just programmed a little doon-doons,
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Fine Young Cannibals?
Of course.
They didn't have a drummer.
She Drives Me Crazy.
Yeah, She Drives Me Crazy, and they a good thing, where have you gone? They didn't have a drummer. There were a couple of the guys from English Beat that had been in no, was it English Beat? Yeah. And English Beat broke up. A couple of the guys went on to do Fine Young Cannibals. The other guys went on to do what was the band that had the song Tenderness?
Oh, you're not gonna get that out of me. I don't know.
It's Ranking Roger and the guy. It's the lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. God, that's gonna drive me.
It's Pink Floyd, right?
That's gonna drive me nuts that I can't remember that because I love
what?
English
Just
Beat.
Stop talking about it and it'll come back.
You're right.
Have you ever found that?
I have.
To be true.
I have, especially in my old age. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the note, and then we're gonna also talk about this. There's a couple of I'm not gonna do a spoiler here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of albums that are going to come out in the next couple of years. We're going to talk about them. There were gigantic hits with awful drum programs.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about a couple of these songs.
All right. So let's get into our top 10.
Okay.
I will say what my number 10 is first. And it's an album that's already been mentioned, so we don't need to say too much about it. But number 10 for me is Paul Simon's Rhythm of the Saints. I really love that album. And one of the criteria, I would say, for why it's on my list is because I find myself putting it on still.
That's good.
I don't have it on vinyl yet, but I would buy it if I saw a used copy somewhere. I would pay maybe $40 for it. Maybe not more than that. But
that's a great barometer of what. Yeah.
I love the drumming element. And I think I mentioned how much this album sounds like a Vampire Weekend album, and that band actually literally stole the sound from it. And so it's a very familiar sound to me. But I love like you said, Paul Simon, not only taking on a new sound, but also evolving as a songwriter. He's talking about growing older. He's talking about other themes. It was cool. All right, so that's my number 10. What's your
General Public?
Yes.
That's the name of the band.
Oh, nice.
Tenderness.
I've never heard of it.
General Public, they had a couple of hits, but it's the English Beat went boop. I love English Beat.
Okay.
Fucking great band. So that's why. Anyway, okay, so
we recovered that.
My number 10, my top 10 album of 1990, number 10.
Yeah.
America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube.
Glad that's on there because it's not on my list.
It's not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving that away. I shouldn't have done that.
So for me, I'm gonna talk about this a lot throughout this whole top 10. For me, music is a multifaceted medium, and every facet of it is equally important to me. And I care about music being an agent of change. That's what drew me to music. Protest songs, songs about society, songs that inspire people, songs that talk about, important. And music is different things for different people. I have some very talented musical friends who will tell me, man, I don't care what the lyrics are. I just love the rhythm and I respect that.
And they don't require a political message.
They don't require any message.
Yeah.
There's millions of people who are perfectly happy to have most of their musical experience be Taylor Swift telling them about her breakups.
Yeah.
And that's satisfying to them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That is not the case for me. I like the message as much as the rhythm and the production. Like I think about all of it because I've been a songwriter my whole life. And what drew me to songwriting were songwriters who were talking in ways that changed the way I looked at the world. So that's really important to me.
Yeah.
And Ice Cube, to not as much as some other artists on this list, but Ice Cube impressed me on this record as a much more mature version of what he was on NWA's and Straight Outta Compton record.
Yeah.
He came out of that record. The production's amazing. It's the Shockley's, Shackley's Bomb Squad, but the production's amazing. The songwriting's cool, and his insights into gangster life were thought-provoking to me.
Totally. Yeah.
Stuck with me. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a funny album too.
It is. There's some funny shit on it. Yeah.
He's just great at crafting stories and crafting a character. And on that political thing, that's funny you say that because I when I was younger, I was especially when I was in high school and college, and all I was thinking about was girls and relationships and myself. That I wanted music like you're saying about Taylor Swift. She wasn't around back then, but music that like sort of talked about relationships and I could relate to and put on mixtapes and things like that. But as I got older, I sort of, I don't know, I didn't necessarily look for political music, although I did really get into System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine and those kinds of bands because of their message, and rappers too. Like, very much was looking for that. But I don't know. I think as we move forward on our list, we'll see a little bit of how that evolved for both of us. Because I don't know. I like The Cure, for instance. They're like the most longing, like broken-hearted romance songs. They're not really political.
No, love them though. Yeah, no.
So it's like, I don't know. We like all sorts of things.
When I say that about Taylor Swift, I want to reiterate, I'm not being critical of people who like.
Oh, I am.
That's just
I'm dissing Taylor Swift. I don't think it matters.
You're right. Move forward.
All right.
I won't belabor the point.
Number 9 for me is, speaking of politics. Actually, well, yeah, there is some political content here. They Might Be Giants, Flood. This album, I think you probably suspected that I might put it on my top 10 because it was a huge album for me. Not until much later, honestly. I think I discovered this album 10 years after it came out in 99 or 2000, somewhere in there. But they've got a song on there called "Your Racist Friend." That the chorus is, "This is where the party ends. I can't stand here listening to you and your racist friend." And it's, to me, hearing these like hipster New York nerds actually go out of their way to write a song about how they couldn't stand hanging out with someone who was making obnoxious racist comments was like, wow, you can be that way. Like I'd never, because I think I grew up in Ventura, California in the 80s and 90s. There were a lot of racist friends around. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like dudes just making shit. You're just used to it. And I didn't know that you could just walk away from that or actually say like, I'm not into that. And that could be like that to me was liberating to hear that. And I enjoyed that kind of political content at that point.
Do you feel
to hear
like
it from these nerd guys?
Do you feel like that gave you some type of permission to go, I can be that way?
I mean, I don't know. I think that I was probably at a point then that I was in college and not really hanging out with the same type of people. I already hated those type of people, but it's just cool to hear it. In other words, it's like anti-racist material that's not in the mode of Rage Against the Machine at all.
Yeah.
It's like nerd dudes, like really, like, you know, bookish dorks who are saying, no, fuck that. You know, I don't want to be part of that. And there's something, there's a humor to it. Like Rage Against the Machine isn't doing a lot of jokes.
No,
there's no humor to their
very
music.
serious.
It's just like, oh, like powerful.
They take themselves very seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas They Might Be Giants were sort of having fun with it. I guess I just appreciated the angle on that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more true to who you are too.
Totally. I mean, They Might Be Giants. When I heard that album, Flood, I thought these are my kind of dudes. You know, and I remember seeing them at I think is it the Henry Fonda Theater?
Yeah.
Is that in Hollywood years ago? And I remember thinking, this is the greatest concert I've ever been to.
Oh, really?
In part because it was a crowd that all wanted to be there. It was all people who knew every word of every song, and they weren't just looking at their phones and just, you know, there for the vibe. They were there to like love this band, and they have a fan base that I think if you love them, you really love them. So that's number 9 for me.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Number 9 for me, Hell's Ditch by the Pogues.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
I do want to say that if it had been any of their first 3 records, Rome Sodomy and the Lash, Red Roses for Me, or I Should Fall from Grace of God, it would have been number 1 or 2.
Right.
But I just love Shane MacGowan's writing. I love the Pogues. I love the marriage. We talked about this in the episode, but I just love the marriage of the punk rock meets traditional Irish music meets James Joyce on a pirate ship. You know, like the poet, the Irish, angry Irish drunken poet thing. Like all of that together just really speaks to me in such a beautiful way. I think that the Pogues are a band that are capable of being simultaneously vulgar and beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that about them. So I just love the record.
Yeah, I love it too. And it's an album that I, along with all of the Pogues music, especially the Shane MacGowan stuff, I could put on anytime, and it will conjure up a certain like moment in my life. When I had a friend that was working as a bouncer at Dargan's, and he wore a kilt, and he was super into like, you know, Irish culture and all this kind of stuff. And the Pogues were just the soundtrack to that time of my life. Yeah. And you mentioned something when we talked about the Pogues last time on this show. You mentioned, you know, if you go to Ireland, because I know you're going on a trip next year, and you find a small little pub in a tiny little Irish town, and there's people playing this type of music around, you're just like, I'm not gonna.
I'll never leave. Yeah,
and that was so familiar to me. There's something, I don't know. Maybe it's part of being an American that there's Irish culture is such a part of our lives. It's a part of American history. There's an Irish pub in every American town. Yeah. There's sort of like that culture has touched American culture in really profound ways. The Pogues just feel like home to me in a lot of ways. Love cool. This album. Yeah.
I love them so much. I have a joke for you.
Yeah.
An Irishman
Is walks. Is it a racist Irish joke? Yeah. Please.
An Irishman walks out of a bar.
That's the joke.
It could happen.
That's terrible. That's almost as offensive as your Taylor Swift material.
I'm here to educate and offend.
Okay. So number 8 for me. Number 8 is Primus, Frizzle Fry. This
Ah.
was a revelation of an album for me in terms of how hard these guys rock. It sounds so like there's such an energy to their music. They're also like I think some of the weirdest guys in the rock world. We both chose that song "Too Many Puppies" as our favorite song for that particular episode. I remember, and that was a coincidence that we both, maybe not a coincidence that we both really enjoyed that. But their sound is so particular to the '90s moment in a lot of ways.
Yep.
They're like
Yeah.
weird counterculture. They've got that same They Might Be Giants thing where they sound like well-read nerds that have a kind of sarcastic take on American society. But also just the shit that Les Claypool was doing with the bass, the sort of
Never heard it before.
the precision of the instruments.
I had never heard it beforehand.
Yeah.
It was probably being done, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of their stuff they played live, which is crazy to me. It's like intricate. And to me, what's cool about Primus Frizzle Fry is it's got humor to it. It's got it's oddball. It's not just straightforward, we fucking rock. I get that thing of like not taking yourself too seriously. I like that about Primus, and this was a fun album, and one that I will say I do still put on.
Humor had no place in prog rock before Primus.
Right, yes.
And they really did bring it in. You're right. Like they brought humor into prog rock, which is one of the things of this moment.
Yeah.
That they did. So that's a good one.
Okay.
Gosh, I kind of...
Now you wish you'd put it on there, don't you?
I do, because it's not on my top 10 list.
Oh. Yeah, let's just stop
So,
the show.
well,
right?
mine... Can we
We're
rewind?
done. We're done, everyone.
Number 8 for me is Heaven or Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so this
I remember your response to this album.
This record, it like the only reason it's on my list is because I keep listening to it. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, she is unique in that she was this is a unique band for me to get into because I'm so lyric motivated with artists,
and she's speaking
nonsense. Gibberish. She doesn't say things, but just the lush, the landscapes they paint musically, and her harmonizing with herself and the melodies. I was so drawn in the first time I listened to the record, and as you know, I've said this on the show before, but I was aware of them when they were popular, when this was happening.
Yeah.
But I'd never listened to them.
Right.
I knew people who were into them. They were kind of more goth. Or whatever.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't know.
Not your scene.
Not, So they certainly weren't a rock and roll band. So I wasn't that into them at the time, but I love this record. I've gone back and listened to it again and again. So it belonged on my list just for that reason.
Oh yeah. And there are times when like, I almost feel like I'm hearing lyrics, where I'm like, oh, I feel like I know what she's saying. It's almost like you could like listen to this album and try to write out what you think she might be saying. Because for me, what's interesting about that album, and I've listened to it a million times in my life, is it feels like I'm almost like the emotion is being given to me of whatever is happening in an abstract and wordless way.
It's not being expressed with words. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's really beautiful.
And whatever, it's still clearer than Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam.
Yes, yes, right. Okay, so number 7 for me was one of your honorable mentions, The Sundays, Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic. Really love this album. We did a whole separate episode with David Humphreys, with another guy, John. I
remember.
Yeah. I remember this happening.
Shut the cameras off for a moment.
But we talked about that, you and I, about that album a lot too, in part because it was a fun discovery.
Didn't the guy that you had on, didn't he write a book about it?
Yeah, he's writing a book right now about the album, Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic.
So it's about the album, not the band.
Yeah, it's about the album.
Oh, interesting. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, the reason why, and we've said this. I think I mentioned this on the episode, but I'll mention it again. One of the reasons why I love that album is the sound of it, and it evokes a certain dreamy sort of folk vision in its sound. Yeah, dream pop, which is oddly a genre that came up again and again on this particular
Twins.
1990. Yeah. But the Sundays reminded me of an earlier version of Belle and Sebastian, which is a band we'll get into in the 90s. At some point, they'll pop up. Yeah. And they're a Scottish band that they're odd in that they sing a lot about like college campus life and the sort of like twee sort of romance that happens on college campuses, and that is very nostalgic for me, and even nostalgic for me in ways that aren't really even attached to my own college experience, but just the sort of idea of a college campus, you know, and particularly in the early '90s, you know, that kind of the analog college campus, the pre-internet college campus.
I'm totally unaware of that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I know who Bill and Sebastian are for their music,
but I mean, the album is called Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic, for Christ's sake. You know, they're singing about things that are like not necessarily always the subjects that are in rock songs. But I just love this album. It's one that I play a lot.
Harriet Wheeler's a good poet.
Yeah. It's super fun.
I say that. Did she write the lyrics? I don't.
I think so.
I think she's a lyricist, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 7.
My number 7 is Against the Grain by Bad Religion.
I figured that Bad Religion would be on your list.
Yeah, just such an important band for this era. Obviously one of the one of the progenitors of all American punk rock, as we understood it, SoCal, I should say, punk rock, not New York, but like Southern California punk rock, and very influential for a lot of the bands that became popular because they are. I thought about this more after the episode we did on this record. There's some great songs on this record. One of my favorite songs of all time, I think, is 21st Century Digital Boy. You know?
Oh yeah.
So they if you listen to Bad Religion, I was listening to their first album, How Can Hell Be Any Worse? And even then, they're playing punk rock, but there's a melody, there's a melodiousness to it. There is what I'm afraid to say this for punk rock fans. There's a pop sensibility. To Bad Religion. There's a melody and there's harmonies and they're. I really think that even though sonically you might not be able to do this, but in terms of influence and what happens in the 90s, I think you could draw a line back to them. And they're making their best music. We talked about this in the podcast. They're making their best music right now in the early 90s.
Right.
So they're making great records. Against the Grain's a great record. I almost put it higher on my list, but
They mastered their sound, like a Bad Religion song.
Yep.
The voices, the harmonies, the way that the guitars work, everything about it is unique to them, which is hard to do, I think, in the style of music they're doing. Like a lot of that sort of like electric guitar, punk rock sounds the same, but Bad Religion is Bad Religion. Like I know them when I hear them.
And lyrically, he's always so compelling. It might be a little too verbose for a lot of people, but he is. We talked about this. And
he's another smart nerd guy.
Guy, scientist, talking about the demise of the species.
So
he's not talking about having his heart broken or fuck the world. He's talking about.
But they're still badass.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like They Might Be Giants. Their music isn't badass. It's sort of got it's as dorky as you can imagine. Like it's just dorky music.
Yeah.
Whereas Bad Religion sounds fucking cool, like hard, and yet they're still like they feel like they're on the right side of history.
So I put them on number 7 on this list because we're going to talk about them again.
Okay.
You talked about that earlier,
Bad Religion coming back.
They got a couple of records that are coming up that are fucking great records that really have some impact and
Okay, number 6 for me, we already talked about it. It's Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas. That is now a classic album. I mean, the cover of it is something that I feel like I see everywhere. People do videos about it on Instagram, talking about their love for this album. Heaven or Las Vegas at this point is, I think, almost beyond cult classic. It's a classic album, and it has to be on this list.
What's the deal with the cover?
I mean, it doesn't have the cover is just it's just a design. I mean,
did I misunderstand you?
Yeah, no, it's just iconic to me.
Oh,
like
okay.
the look
just
of it.
the image of
it.
Okay,
just the image.
I see.
Right. There's nothing specific about it.
Like the cover of Exile on Main Street or something.
Right.
It's just
a design. But like when I see it, I'm like, oh, there it is.
Okay,
and I feel like that album has ascended to a certain status among the people that like this type of music.
Yeah, I would agree with you about that.
Yeah.
My sixth album, we've mentioned it already, was Pod by the Breeders.
Oh, wow.
And I put
I thought I liked this album more than you.
You did.
Yeah.
I put it on my list, this high up on the list, because listening to it again, I personally like the album. I think that it's very interesting. I think that it's, once again, it's my favorite thing. It's an artist just letting themselves be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. But I was struck again by, maybe I'm too stuck in the groove of what our podcast is about, but I think this is such an influential album in the 90s.
Yes.
I really think that people like Kurt Cobain, who will admit it, and other people who haven't admitted it yet, for whatever reason, Radiohead and other artists, all influenced by this record. I think this record had a massive influence on what happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think that it should be treated like an important record. So I do like it a lot, but I put it on there primarily for that purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. That's good. I mean, I just loved I love Kim Deal as much as you do, I think. And her voice and her attitude and her kind of take on things is so specific to her and so weird and so much fun, and it does feel ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, do you know like McSweeney's? Do you know the McSweeney stuff? They're like, it's like writers that they had a big website. They still do. It's a certain kind of pose, a certain kind of hipster attitude towards things that's very literary and very postmodern and weird. And I feel like she's sort of anticipating a little of what's going to happen, like you said, in the writing of music, and the kind of like the oddball concerns that she has. Her take on American life is singular. I really appreciated that album, and I think I talked about the Happiness is a Warm Gun, the Beatles cover on there, which is so cool in the way that they take on that song and sort of take it apart.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5 for me is Public Enemy's Fear of a Black Planet. That's I wanted to reserve a space. We're talking about our reasoning behind these things. I wanted to reserve a space on this list that sort of held a place for the political turn in hip hop that was happening that you captured by talking about Ice Cube. I'm glad that's on your list, because Public Enemy's Fear of a Black Planet it's so iconic in its sound. I mean, it is. I think I mentioned this when we talked about it, that it's like it just sounds like what it is. It's so unique that when you put it on, you're like, that's 1989. That's a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah,
that's Public Enemy. But also, what Chuck D was rapping about, along with this really bombastic, crazy music with all these nutso samples. It captured a certain attitude that wasn't really in hip hop at the time. I feel like there was sort of like a really, I think this is an overused term, but it was sort of a brave record to make, in sort of like just fearlessly taking on all of these sort of sacred cows. I mean, they're even attacking other rappers and stuff like that, and just being so funny and filled with like bravado. It's just a really fun record, and it's sort of incredible to listen to in 2025. You're like, wow,
it belongs on the list.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 5.
My number 5.
Yes.
Number 5 for me, Ragged Glory by Neil Young.
Very nice.
And Crazy Horse.
Yeah, of course.
Just once again, not only did I fucking love this record, and I don't think, man, I've listened to a lot of Neil Young. This album was not overly familiar to me when we listened to it. You know, it's not an album of his that I paid a lot of attention. I knew it. I remember when it came out, and I was, I was listening to Neil Young then, but it was just such a fun record to get into, and I loved learning about how they did it. You know, these were just rehearsals they recorded, and they picked the, just such a great, it's all live. And I really, once again, the songwriting is great. Neil Young is one of those exciting artists who does whatever he wants. I love Crazy Horse. They're just such a great rock band. And I really feel like this was, in my opinion, Neil Young told all those kids in the United States of America and rock bands who were like 20 years old at that time, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
Here's the blueprint for, and then they took it and made the 90s grunge thing.
Yeah, right.
I think he's the father of all that.
Yeah, and if you look up Neil Young during this time, he looks like the prototypical grunge guy without like being pretentious about it or even like trying. He's wearing
flannels.
He's wearing the grunge
Yeah.
shitty guy outfit that's gonna become so. I mean, actually a cliche by the mid '90s. Yeah, the ripped flannel, the layers, big shitty jeans, even like I don't know, construction boots and shit like that. It's weird because he's sort of a fashion icon. I don't know how much he tries. He seems like he just like.
Is he a fashion icon?
I think so.
Wow, I would.
He is to me.
I would never have said that about Neil Young.
I mean, if you look at, I mean, his looks over the years have evolved. I'm always interested in what Neil is wearing, not only in the album material, but in just like whatever time period he's in.
Huh.
And I mean, it should go. I mean, it should go without saying that drugs have a lot to do with what Neil Young is doing. And he's like, coked out a lot, throughout in fact, he has a song called Hitchhiker. I don't know if you heard this song. It came out in like 2010 or something like that, where he sort of catalogs his drug history in a song. And he's really honest about it. And it's sort of a funny song, but it's also incredibly disturbing. And he talks about just coke and smoking crystal meth and just like, he never became a heroin guy. He was always doing speed. He was always, yeah.
Interesting.
He was always
I didn't know he had. I knew he had a checkered past, some dark skeletons in the closet, but I didn't know he was like smoking meth and that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, and there's a performance of him doing maybe I think it's "Keep on Rockin' in the Free World." Oh no, it's My Hey Hey, that song at one of the Farm Aid concerts. And he looks so coked out of his mind. And yet
it's called Out of the Blue Into the Black.
Yeah, right, that one. Yeah. The energy that he exhibits. And I'm like, it's just him and the acoustic guitar. But he can produce a fucking sound with his voice and his sort of overall vibe. And I'll just give it away that my number 4 is also Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Ragged Glory. It had to be on here for the same reasons you said. But largely because it's so influential. I became aware of Neil Young's existence because I was into grunge music in the 90s.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm surprised he doesn't get more credit for launching that, for being like a blueprint, as I said before, for a lot of those artists to follow. Not just trying to sound like him, but I mean like saying we're gonna be all about this live, raw, guitar-based aesthetic. The anti-rock star, we're going to wear jeans and t-shirts. We're not going to look at the camera. Yeah. We're going to fuck the corporate world.
There's politics there as well. Yeah. There's actually, I think you mentioned that Pearl Jam performance on the MTV Awards. I think that was, for people that are about my age, that were sort of teenagers in the 90s, I was like, who is this fucking guy that's up there with them? Who I thought was an old guy.
Man, yeah.
He was probably like 45 or something like that, maybe 50 at the most. But he was just, I was like, this guy is fucking wild.
Dude, when he stepped, they've edited it. I don't think you can find the original version, but to watch that live, when he stepped on, they were playing Rockin' on the Free World. When he stepped on whatever pedal he was using, you could no longer hear Pearl Jam. You couldn't hear them anymore. Yeah. No drums, no hi-hats. You just heard his screaming fucking guitar.
And he's going to do an MTV Unplugged, which I think those MTV Unplugged albums will actually figure into this podcast at some point. Because some of them are, I mean, the Nirvana one, obviously, the 10,000 Maniacs one is big. Important, but there's a million others. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and we'll talk about it when they come out.
Yeah, you mentioned that you saw that studio.
Yeah, I stood on that stage. Story. Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, so what's I did number 4. You knew your number 4.
My number 4 is Ritual de lo Habitual by Jane's Addiction.
Nice.
And I don't have to go on a big long tangent about it. I talked a lot. I talked at length about Jane's Addiction. I will just say that for me, being someone who was making original music during this time, that is the exclamation point on the 1980s for underground music to me. That album is. Yeah. It's the punctuation.
Yeah.
On 1980s underground music.
Right. But it also seems like it's looking forward too. In the same way as a Neil Young, it's sort of like a spiritual blueprint.
Well, it's another swan song.
Yes.
They were done then. That was it for them. So looking forward in terms of them as a band, it was the end. But in terms of what bands would do,
Right.
having been influenced by
The rock scene.
for sure, yeah.
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 And I mean, they were, like I said, they were fixtures of like Lollapalooza and MTV and everything in the 90s. They were still around, even though they were kind of breaking up and a total wreck.
They were no longer together when Lollapalooza began.
Yeah.
Perry actually started
Porno for
Lollapalooza.
Pyros,
Porno for
right?
Pyros, that's right.
Okay. So my number 3 is Sonic Youth, Goo. That album is important in the same ways that I think we've mentioned other albums here. It seems like we're both doing picking albums that we feel were influential, especially in the rock
90s.
world.
Yeah.
And for 2 reasons, and those 2 reasons are always, Thurston Moore and Kim Gordon, and the contributions that they each brought to the sound. With Thurston Moore's like thrashing, crazy guitar that sounded so cool, and we mentioned so different than the sort of guitar 2-hand tapping Van Halen bullshit pyrotechnics that had become what guitar mastery was allegedly supposed to be in the 80s. This is a different type of guitar mastery that's just like, I mean, Sonic Youth sound is like scary sometimes in terms of like how distorted and nuts it is, and even avant-garde. It's not always melodic.
Most things that start out as something that's purely artistic, I do not think that Eddie Van Halen is bullshit.
Right.
Eddie Van Halen's a fucking master, genius.
It just became a cliche.
But then it became this commodity that people wanted that. The people were not pursuing it for the purpose of the art. They were pursuing it to become that. This is the lens through which I can make the world see me. And then it was just about technical proficiency.
Yes.
Faster, speedier, the Steve Vais of the world, and all these guys who, I don't want to diss Steve Vai, but like all these guys, Yngwie
they're
Malmsteen.
badasses. I love these guys.
Yeah. Well, they're fast and precise.
But there's also like a genre of YouTube guy that just shows that he can do that.
Yeah.
And it never moves me.
There's no soul anymore. It's not something coming from any, it's just coming from the fingers. It's not coming from here.
Yes.
And then that's one of the things that alternative music was a response to. That's why one of the things that became mainstream was because rock music had become this thing that alternative music will become in the end of this decade, by the way.
Right.
By the end of the decade, it'll just be this homogenized, overcompressed, everything sounds the same. The guys sing like this, and like it's just got no teeth. It's complete horseshit, But not now it is, and now it's still got teeth, and that's what Sonic Youth was. And I want to tell you something. I felt comfortable leaving Goo off my list because I knew you'd get it. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. There are a couple.
Because it belongs on the list.
There are a couple Sonic Youth records. This one and Daydream Nation and a couple others that are just like, for me, just all timers. It's music that should be heard loud, and it's just cool. And Goo is also notable. I wanted to mention, and why you should listen to it, is Kim Gordon. She becomes much more prominent as a voice and a songwriter on it, and it's just really the blend of her and Thurston Moore just sounds really cool on this album.
I told you this year I went and saw Dinosaur Jr.
Yes.
And I have a video clip on my phone, and if I had social media, this is what I would do with this clip. Although I have actually been back on social media to promote this show.
Yes, you have.
But the clip is Dinosaur Jr. with Kim Gordon singing lead, playing I Want to Be Your Dog by the Stooges.
Cool.
And I have a clip of it, and I just want to post it and say, if you don't know, this is what cool looks like.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is fucking cool.
And it's a mashup of 3 very cool things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, so that's my number 3.
My number 3 is No Depression by Uncle Tupelo.
Nice.
So
I thought it would be higher, actually.
Once again, well, they're going to be back.
Yeah, right.
It's one of those things like I told you, I said this half jokingly, this is their worst record. This is a great fucking record. I love Uncle Tupelo. Mm-hmm. They're like in my top 5 to 8 artists. Like if I could go back in time and see them, that would be on my list.
Yes.
So,
I heard them referred to as the 90s version of Creedence Clearwater Revival.
That's
what
great.
What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. I think that's a little bit limiting for Uncle Tupelo.
Yeah.
Because they got two great songwriters. It's not just, John Fogerty is the Creedence. But like that's a cool comparison. I like Creedence. I like Tupelo better than Creedence. But
well, it's more us.
It
you know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Creedence always sounds like my dad washing his car. Because he used to have a Creedence tape. My dad didn't have that many tapes, but he had a Creedence tape that was kind of like the best of. So it was always the same shit,
The Big Lebowski both edified and ruined Creedence for me forever.
Well,
Just
also
hitting the
Oldies Radio. Yes, 100%. Oldies Radio ruined Creedence in some way because and you know what? Vietnam movies playing Fortunate Son over and over with the helicopters. That I think that what bothers me about that in part is, because I do have a couple of the Creedence records on vinyl, including like Cosmos Factory and shit like that don't have as many of those hits on them, and they're fucking great band, dude.
All that
so
music,
much cool stuff.
All that music is fucking great. If you could take it out of the popular context in which it's utilized, if you and I could wipe out the part of our brain that remembers Creedence music and associates it with anything, and just sit down and listen to a Creedence record, we go, "Fuck, this is great."
The same happened to Led Zeppelin, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
They overplayed Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, so like and they put it also, I think Led Zeppelin like licensed it out to commercials at some point. So there's an Audi driving on a road, and it's and it's like, ooh yeah, and it's sort of like, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
You fucking ruined it. And I've heard it too much now. But you're right. If I could wipe my memory and hear that now,
you would go, "This is
rock and roll
great.
I've ever heard." Yeah.
This is great. But I like that comparison. So No Depression is their first record, their first full length record, and I think it is my opinion, and you could tell me I'm fucking full of shit, and I would not disagree with you about this. This is just opinion. They're not fully fleshed out as songwriters yet. They're going to write some much greater songs, but this is a record of great songs, and I love it.
Yeah. And Uncle Tupelo and Sunvolt, the band that Jay Farrar made after Uncle Tupelo broke up, is a connection between you and I mentioned that because you gave me that Sunvolt.
We're going to get to that record in a couple of years.
And I did want to mention I just got this because Claudia got it for me for my birthday, the vinyl triple album that Jeff Tweedy just put out called Twilight Override. I think you would enjoy a lot of it. It's kind of a masterpiece. It just came out. Like he literally.
I just heard a song off of that.
It's really good, dude. Like, and I kind of fell off listening to Tweedy's stuff for a while. I was a huge Wilco person.
Yeah.
I love Summer Teeth, Being There, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. Many of their Sky Blue Sky, many of their much of their albums I
they have
love.
A lot of albums.
Yeah, but then they kind of like fell off for me. It got a little boring, the songwriting, honestly, to me. And again, that's opinion. People could argue with me. But this Twilight Override that just came out is just a return to form. Like there's something he's doing that I think is really, really cool. And you talk about evolving as a songwriter. He's 58 years old. And he's just in a different mode. And, you talk about like songwriters that sort of get stuck in their old ways. Yeah. He hasn't done that. He's created something new. So
I'll give it a listen. I'm excited.
That's a recommendation of new music. Okay, so we're on my number two, right?
2, yeah.
Ooh, down on the top 2. My number 2 is Depeche Mode's Violator.
Ooh.
I love this fucking album, and I already did love this album, but this doing this show is an opportunity, as it is for you, I think, too, to sort of really listen to shit and be like, okay, I'm going to actually hear this in a way that maybe I haven't paid as careful attention to it before, but I just got a Depeche Mode album that I found in the used bin at Salzer's that came out in 1989. So it has none of this stuff. It has none of the Violator stuff. And it's a live album. It's a double live album. It has just all Depeche Mode songs from like the 80s. And they sound amazing. It's actually recorded at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And it's a really cool album. It reminds me of the Rattle and Hum, the U2 live album. It's
really?
Really expansive set of songs. But I was struck by, because I'd listened to Violator, I'm like, wow, they really did change their sound.
They did, didn't
for
they?
Violator. And not only that, they sort of deepened it and darkened it.
Yeah. More guitars. Yeah.
And
they talked about that, about the guy that who produced that record? Was it Lily White?
I don't know.
think Steve Lillywhite produced the record, or my memory, forgive me if I'm getting that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the producer sort of told them, hey, if you want to have guitars, have guitars.
Right.
And I don't use samples so they got darker and heavier on that album.
Yeah.
They talked about it.
Yeah, and I just love it. And so it's high up for me because I just feel like it's pristine from beginning to end. I'm looking for the producer. I can't find the producer's name here. Flood. Yeah.
That's who it was. I'm sorry.
Right.
Flood. I got them confused.
Mark Ellis, but he calls himself Flood.
Flood and Steve Lillywhite produced
It takes balls to call yourself Flood. I'm sorry.
They worked together on a couple of U2 albums. That's how I got them screwed up
Right.
in my mind. Flood, not Steve Lillywhite. I'm glad you looked that up.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you something. I am hearing your list. I'm shocked that I did not put Frizzle Fry and Violator on my list.
They both sound so fucking cool.
They're both great.
And yeah, Violator is an all-timer for me because it takes Depeche Mode into this weird, slinky, sinister mode that they aren't really in the 80s, even though I love all their 80s stuff too.
So and if you recall, at the time we talked about how that was they reinvented themselves, right time and place, to be really relevant in the 90s. Like they were tuned. I don't know if it was deliberate, but they fit right in what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the darker, introspective, scarier look at the human depravity and sickness, and that became very popular in 90s music.
Fucking great. So that's my number 2.
My number 2 is Fear of a Black Planet.
Yes. By
Public Enemy. I've talked about this enough, but once again, to me, what they were doing at that time, Straight Outta Compton gets all the attention because it's fuck the police.
Right.
It's violent and it's in your face, and that often gets more attention. But to do what Public Enemy was doing, which was a more responsible, more movement-oriented message, I think takes more intelligence and courage.
Yeah,
and they were really that for me. But most importantly, Public Enemy, as a young white man growing up in fucking Southern California in America, they changed my perspective on black culture and the struggle black people were going through. Yeah. They changed the way I looked at it.
100%.
So they're a very important thing for me.
Made me aware of it, honestly, because I was a little bit younger than you, I think. And in 1989, when Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing came out, I don't think I saw it until a few years later. But it was like, you remember in Living Color? Remember that show?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I associated all of that with Public Enemy and Living Color, Spike Lee. There was sort of something going on that was very colorful and fun. And NWA was a little bit earlier, darker, angrier, cool for sure. But I was too young to capture any of that stuff. By the time this comes out, there's if you watch the video for Fight the Power, it's such a vibrant, fun video.
Super vibrant.
Even though it's like deadly serious in its own way, there's still a humor and like a party thing going on with it.
I would give Spike Lee some credit for this too, but Public Enemy, I grew up in America in the 80s, and the lesson that we were being taught at that time was, there's this thing called the civil rights movement. It happened in the 60s. It's over. We're all good.
Yeah, right.
Martin Luther King won. We're all good.
100%.
And that was the story, right? And then I start listening to Public Enemy and realize this is not over.
Right.
The black people in American culture, they are still feeling that there is a struggle for them. They are fighting for equality.
And the LA riots happened in 92.
Yeah.
2 years after this, and that was another moment where it was exactly what you're talking about.
But it prepared me to see that for what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that this culture was important in the sense of like explaining why the riots happened for people,
Chuck D is intelligent enough. He's poetic. He's powerful that he drew everybody in. He told you the story. He was like a professor let me tell you what's really going on.
Totally, yeah.
And I learned from him. He changed my perspective on the whole thing.
And he lives in Ventura, California.
He does.
Which is the very town we are currently broadcasting from. I'm wondering if we can get him here, you know.
Dude.
I mean, would that be amazing? Apparently, people see him in Trader Joe's.
Dude,
a lot,
if
you
wouldn't want me to talk to Chuck D. I'd be like, you're so cool.
I'm going to walk up to Chuck D in Trader Joe's while we're both picking out cinnamon rolls and say, hey.
Is there any
up?
chance we could get you? Dude,
yeah.
Oh my God. That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, all right. So, all right. We've arrived at our number ones. My number one album for 1990 is Jane's Addiction, Ritual de lo Habitual.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
For a lot of reasons, but I think the main reason for me is that this album surprised me. Maybe I had low expectations, but I thought, okay, Jane's Addiction, they're sort of a psychedelic rock band. I didn't really know a whole lot about them besides their hits like Jane Says and Caught Stealing and that kind of stuff. This album is so meticulous in its construction and its presentation. It tells stories, and I find that it has a Journey element to it, not Journey the band, but Journey,
Highway Run.
Maybe a little bit, but it progresses and it deepens as you listen to it. The songs get longer, they become more serious and heavy in their themes.
Yeah. That's true.
And I was just like, the whole time I was listening to this for this show, it was the first time I'd ever really listened to this album. I was just like, wow, every song. And it blew me away. And I would also put it in that category that we mentioned of being influential, if not musically, like kind of culturally. These guys were everywhere in the 90s. And their vibe took... I made a video about this, of you talking about this, and put it on Instagram, because I thought you said it really well, that they took a lot of the light from the glam metal thing of the 80s and made something really cool and unique with it, and sort of showed the way out of that.
I called it a black hole, actually.
Yeah, right.
They sucked some of the light out of the black hole of 80s.
Yeah. And I just love that metaphor, but I like that idea because I do think of them as kind of like they've got this element of like LA sleaze to them,
sure,
you know?
For sure.
Right.
Junkies. Slinky junkies.
Right,
yeah.
but there's something so creative and artful about this that it is my number one album of 1990.
When we talked about it in the episode, I said that there are moments for a lot of artists where you can look at their body of work and sort of put them in a category, in a genre, and then sometimes artists create something that it transcends.
Yeah.
Where it's actually, I think they actually created something that was greater than what they actually were as a band with this album. I've seen them a lot of times.
Maybe it's surprising to me. I was like, I didn't know that they had it in them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is Jane's Addiction.
Me too.
It just, each song was just a revelation.
Yeah,
for me.
I agree with you about that.
I love this album. It's awesome.
Good call. I like it. Okay, my number one album, for 1990.
Drum roll on here. Mm-hmm. There it is.
Repeater by Fugazi.
Ooh, nice. You know, I wondered if it was going to show up.
Yeah.
I thought it would.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's there.
So that's...
Because that was like I think that's the last major album that we have to mention on this Best of 1990 is Repeater. Yeah.
It's such a... I think Fugazi they're such an important artist, because what they're gonna do, and Repeater, they're early in their career right now. They had a built-in audience because Ian MacKaye has Discord Records that released all their records. Minor Threat was his band, one of the most popular punk rock bands in American history. So they're showing that DIY is possible. They're doing it themselves. They're selling their own records. They don't need the machine, right? And then they start writing songs about like anti-commercialism and misogyny in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, when that was like, woo, it's just a big fucking party, you know?
Yeah.
And, like one of my favorite songs by Fugazi ever is Merchandise. It's on this record. At the end is just, you are not what you own. I had a t-shirt that said that, and on the back, like, you are not what you own. That was such a liberating thought for me as a young man. Hearing about anti-consumerism, anti-misogyny, anti-violence. They were just bringing, Fugazi came into the the world of the punk rocker and brought like this standard of an honest morality to it all. You know, like really became a soulful thing in that world. And they're one of my favorite bands of all time, as you know, but I love this record.
I think that is a number one record choice for you, John, that is consistent with the values you have espoused on this program today and on other episodes, which is that Fugazi and this particular album, Repeater, has a sort of politics to it, but it has a punk artfulness to it. You know, there's something they're doing, and I made an Instagram video of you talking about this too. The sort of the groove that they have. Cool. What they do with the music is so beyond what I expected. I would put it actually in the same category as the Jane's Addiction, in that I thought when I put on Fugazi, I'm just gonna get blown away by just like crunchy rock. Instead, I was drawn into this
the beats, rhythms, and they're groovy.
Very cool shit. Love everything about that album and that band. It could have easily been in the top 10 for me, but I'm glad you included it because I think we hit them all. Just to wrap up our year here, this has been super fun learning about the music of 1990. And, I mentioned that we're putting out Instagram videos, not to plug that, but more I'm finding it very interesting to see like what people respond to. You know, when I put up an album, us talking about a particular artist, see like what people like and what people don't like. It was a surprise to me to find that our hugest video is of you talking about Mother Love Bone, of all things. Yeah. But I think people really appreciate the sort of historical take on that. I don't think obviously a lot of people remember Andrew Wood and Mother Love Bone. But it's interesting to me that, and I think if we're on to anything in this program, it's sort of putting things in the context of their time and understanding that, like, I didn't know Mother Love Bone had like all these connections to Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and these other bands, and it makes all of that other music seem more resonant in some way to understand the history.
I would totally agree with you about that. Yeah.
All right.
Are we gonna do our songs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Song of the year. So we each chose a song of the year.
This was tough.
Yes, it was. But do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
You went first with the other ones. I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first, please. What is your song of the year? And if we choose the same song, this will be a trip.
So I have some honorable mentions.
Yes.
Because I had to So I told you
that's cheating, but all right, I'll allow it.
So honorable mentions. I have Black Boys on Mopeds by Sinead O'Connor.
Yep.
Great song. I love the lyric. You know.
Another one of those like sort of surprising takes on race that isn't cringy. We talked a lot about that.
The cringiness of
really blatant on the nose politics that you're sort of rolling your eyes at.
Our poster child was Chris Christopherson. So
sorry, Chris.
I should say, let me back up a little bit. What I ended up looking for was there's so many. You can't look at 75 albums and go, I'm just going to pick a great song.
Right.
There's so many great songs. So there's got to be something. I looked for songs where there was something in it that just made me go, oh.
Right.
Like it moved me. You know, it did something to me viscerally, cerebrally, whatever it may be.
It's Do the Bartman, I'm assuming. I'm just going to call it. I'm going to predict it right now. Oh, yeah, it's painful.
So Black Boys on Mopeds by Sinead O'Connor. Whiskey Bottle.
Oh yeah.
By Uncle Tupelo.
Oh yeah.
The line that jumps out to me is, I can't forget the sound. Looks like it's here to stay. The sound of people chasing money and money getting away. What a brilliant line, right? 21st Century Digital Boy by Bad Religion.
So prophetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read, but I got a lot of toys. Faith Alone by Bad Religion.
Yes. Yep.
Then She Did by Jane's Addiction, which I just think is an epic.
That whole suite of songs that end that album, it's partly why I chose it as my number one, incredible. Is that there are like 3 or 4 songs that are all over 5 minutes long that have a sort of consistent theme of dealing with his mother's suicide and the death of a girlfriend. And all of that is done in such a magnificent way.
Magnificent. Then She Did is just a masterpiece.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that song, listen to it. But my top song...
Another drum roll, please. Yeah. Thank you. No snare.
It's Fear of a Black Planet.
Oh, nice.
By Public Enemy. And I'll tell you why. Because when I listened to it, I just went, well, this is culturally what's going on right now.
Yeah.
In the United States of America, there's a faction of right wing that has got a lot of influence and power in our government, and they're saying it out loud these days.
Yeah,
I've heard like Stephen Miller and other people these days just talk about. Did you see Stephen Miller talk at what's his name, Charlie Kirk's memorial?
Oh, dude,
that was straight up like he was talking about we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, and he talked about we can trace our roots back to Greece, and he's talking about white.
Oh yeah,
Northern European.
Talk about on the nose.
And the bad guys are not white Europeans. This is a fear of a black planet. It's the white minority. We're living through this cultural struggle right now that Chuck is talking about in this song. So it's so poignant and so relevant. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and it makes me think like where, and I'm not saying that we live in a cultural wasteland, but it makes me wonder, like, will we have a sort of public enemy of our moment? I mean, people would say Kendrick Lamar is in that category.
Yeah.
If you watched his Super Bowl thing last year, I mean, it was, as you talk about on the nose, I mean, it was just a vicious sort of take on American culture and race and where we haven't progressed to. It's worth watching if you haven't watched it. It's on YouTube. It was when you watch it, you realize he was playing directly to that audience. And I'll be really interested to see what Bad Bunny does. With
we won't understand because it'll all be in Spanish,
right? Exactly.
Actually, I've been studying Spanish, David.
Oh, nice.
So I want to watch the Kendrick Lamar performance. I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, you got to check it out.
Okay.
You know what? It's very much in line with the LA stuff. So it's like sort of like it feels like the logical continuation of Ice Cube. And I was listening to Ice Cube record, America's Most Wanted, and that EP we listened to. I was thinking about Kendrick Lamar the whole time. I was sort of like, these guys embed themselves in a particular racial history in Los Angeles that's connected to like gangsterism and stuff like that, but also has a politics to it that's just really fresh and weird and hard.
Well, there's another thing
Super
about
cool.
that. There's another thing about why I chose Fear of a Black Planet. I just wonder. In 2012, Senator Lindsey Graham said, "We're not producing enough angry young white males to stay in business." That's what he said.
Are now.
We are now.
Yeah.
And I wonder for that group of people what it was like in the early 90s when this is when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what it was like for groups like Public Enemy and artists like Spike Lee to be influencing young white males like me.
Yeah, right.
Like we were listening to them.
Yeah.
They're going,
and
what
was that
the
part?
fuck?
Was that part of their project? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to say, it had to be. These are really intelligent dudes. You know, like they thought of their art, and they aimed it. I think not just at like other black dudes.
Oh, Chuck D was definitely.
And Spike Lee wanted to be like Martin Scorsese. He wanted to be like an art filmmaker that got a lot of eyes on his stuff. And eventually, I mean, honestly, Spike Lee evolves into a filmmaker that's trying to do all sorts of stuff in Hollywood, but he always has that sort of racial angle to his stuff. Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, God, we're going to get to, you know, the like Woodstock 99 shit and all that. Like, you know, we mentioned, you know, Limp Bizkit and stuff like that. And, you know, some of that music is fun to hear, but it also became a sort of part of an angry white dude culture that I would say is connected to MAGA. And that's not to say that I don't think of Limp Bizkit as like MAGA music, but there's a vibe that sort of shifted in the 90s for sure. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to
listen to that. Okay.
But hold on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My number one song of 1990 is a song that it was also not just my choice for the best song of the year, but it was the choice of a lot of Americans. This is one of the biggest hits of the year. So there's a harmony to pop culture and my choice for best song, which is Sinead O'Connor, "Nothing Compares to You," which is off of the album I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got. And that song and that video is so iconic. I feel like It's a little bit like this Seinfeld episode where Elaine's boyfriend is obsessed with the song Desperado by the Eagles, and whenever he hears it, like in the grocery store or something like, or a restaurant, he has to stop everything and just like stare off into the distance with a tear in his eye and listen to that. That's what this category of song is. Like, there's certain songs that I'm just like, when I hear it, I'm just like, oh God, I'm in it. Like, it just like brings out a certain space and time and emotion. You know, that video that Sinead O'Connor did for this song is iconic in its own way. But I put it in the category along with like Jeff Buckley's cover of Hallelujah, where there's something like almost religious about the song. And it also is just so 1990. It's just immediately I think of that video. I think of her look, and the unique sort of contribution she made to that moment. It's a Prince cover too. Like, there's something cool about that. So it's my number one song.
Did Prince write it for her?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
But if there's a video that went viral of Prince doing his version of it, and it doesn't really hit in the same way. It's one of those examples of like, it's Sinead's song.
Yeah, she found some way to do it. She found a way to tell the story of the song in a way that resonates. And Prince, he's written a lot of great songs. Maybe that one wasn't something that he had.
I think they said that when he died, he has like 70 albums that were completed that like are on hard drives somewhere. I wonder if we'll ever hear that material.
You play music, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Go look up some of the videos that are out there these days of Prince like playing bass at a sound check, or he's just another fucking creature, man.
Well,
I don't know what
that.
He's so brilliant.
That solo he does on the George Harrison tribute. I mean, it's kind of one of the most famous guitar videos out there.
Yeah, he's just so fucking good at everything.
Yeah, and you sent me to watch the Chris Cornell version of Nothing Compares to You.
Yeah.
Which, if there's anyone else that does a cover that will like shatter you, it's him. Yeah. And it's just him and an acoustic guitar.
Yep.
And you're like, holy shit! Like, that guy had the gift.
So great.
Yeah. And he's a figure we will return to as we continue our journey in the 90s.
We will see him again very soon, yeah.
All right, so that's it for 1990. 1 year down.
9 to go.
Yeah, 9 to go. We'll be back with 1991, January, very soon. Thanks, everyone, and thank you, John.
Thank you, David.
We'll talk to you soon.